appreciate y'all chilling and politicking and paying attention because it's real vital. You heard me? Trench Talk TV. So that's what it's gonna sound like. It ain't gonna sound like nothing sugarcoat. It ain't gonna sound like what you want to hear. It's gonna be Trench Talk.
Man, in 07, you dropped The Remedy, album called The Remedy with Koch Records.
Right.
How'd that situation come about?
Man, that shit was crazy. My partner Jay Tweezy, he was the program director of the radio station down here, and he was telling me about Koch, like, cause at that time Koch, Koch used to be just like a label that, you know, once rappers came out and, you know, they had been out for some years.
And Koch had people like Ice Cube, I believe.
Well, not Ice Cube, but yeah, they had like older rappers and shit. Like
gotcha.
they was putting out, like, you know, rappers who people would call, you know, they time that came and went. They just putting out music now.
Gotcha.
Legacy artists, that's what they're called. But around this time, they started, they kind of like rebranded the label and they started signing new artists, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, really pushing, you know, like new artists and shit. So my partner Jay Tweezy was telling me like about Koch, like, man, I told him about you, Max, like, just put a little package together and send it to him. He gave me the address and shit. And at this time they had, like, this when DJ Khaled first, like the first label DJ Khaled was on was Koch. You know what I'm saying? They had Yin Yang Twins, they had you know, Jim Jones with the ballin', the dude DJ Unk, Walk It Out and all that shit. So they had like the biggest songs on the radio, you know what I'm saying, at that time. So I kind of was like, man, I told Tweezy, all right, I'm gonna send him something. And I had like put together the CD and shit and just set that shit on my table. I ain't even go to the post office and mail that shit, cause I kind of just felt like, man, I done fuck with labels and shit out. That shit don't never really work out for me. I ain't really tripping. But he kept calling me like, man, you sent the package, they looking for us. So I said, nah, I said, man, you know what, fuck it, let me go send this shit. So I overnighted to him. And shit, but the next day, they got that shit and called me like, man, we wanna fly you up here and all that. So, you know, fast forward, you know, I ended up signing with him and shit. And I had this song, Find Me a Freak with Power Wall. The bitch was like getting like, you know, 300-400 spins on the radio, you know what I'm saying? The bitch was like, you know, kind of blowing up. But when I signed with them, it's kind of like they dropped the ball on my shit. And they really didn't know what to do with an artist like me, you know what I'm saying? Because they had like artists that was, you know, like BG was signed to them. And like I told you, Yin Yang Twins, you know, they had like a certain type of artist. Me being a different, like I say, bro, I was
strong personalities as well. Them two
names. Yeah, but it's more so just like the music, like, cause this was before J. Cole, this was before Drake and before Kendrick Lamar and before artists like that. But I was like them niggas before them niggas.
Your lyricist,
right? You know what I'm saying?
Simple and plain.
They ain't really get it. They ain't really know what to do. So they was trying to make me, man, you know, you need this kind of record. You need this. You know, they want me to make, you know, this kind of go back to this question you asked me about dumbing down. You know, same shit. Like, so they ain't really know what to do with me, bro. Like, I had this song Fresh to Death. Like, if I would have been on a major label, bro, that would have been a fucking huge song. You know what I'm saying? But
man, you bringing, man, we must have been playing that for like the last 48 hours. Man, what was your mind frame when you dropped it? I'm Fresh to Death. Fresh to Death.
Man, my partner Happy had that beat, and that bitch just sounded like fucking Space to me or something, like just the sounds, you know what I'm saying? And it was a chick, a artist we was working with named Colleen. She from Houston. She sing. And that's her singing on the hook and shit, and I just like, man, just like I wrote the hook and shit, and the melody come from it's an old song where R. Kelly and Jay-Z had redid this song from the Bee Gees, which is an old group from like the 70s, like a disco group, and there was that song, your kiss is just like honey, but can't stop thugging the block. all night trying to get this money. So I just took that same melody and I just was like, I be so fresh
some new
to
vocals
death
on it.
when I hop out, they be on me. You know what I'm saying? And that was it.
So you can get your producer on too, it's safe to say.
Yeah, all that. Like I never made beats. I never, specifically made beats, but yeah, I mean what I do is producing, of course, for sure.
That's another hat to add to the collection.
Right.
At what point did you fall into your situation with Dead Game Records?
All right, this was like 2010, I believe. Gates had got locked up, and I was still just doing my thing, and they had called me. My partner Gus had called me. It was like, man, Tom didn't want to holler at you, and I knew Tom and Travis and all them, just from being around and shit already. They was always cool with me. And so when I talked to them, they was like, man, they wanted to kind of, I guess, keep the label floating while Gates was locked up. You know what I'm saying? So they approached me about doing like a little partnership thing where, I come over there and do a couple albums and shit with them, and kind of just carry the label till Gates come home. And like I say, I fuck with Tom and Travis, like they always been cool with me, so we worked a little deal out, and shit. Once again, I went over there and went to work. You know what I'm saying? Like
Another call to duty.
right, and then we did the leak. It was like they had songs from Gates that was unreleased that they ain't never put out yet. So we kind of just did a thing where I did some new songs, and we took half my songs, half of his songs, and put it on one thing, put that out. That's what Can I Help You was on with me and Level, and that bitch blew when it came out.
Giant, Dream Team.
Yeah, Dream Team, all that, yup. And then I did my album Heart of a King over there. And shout out to Gus. Gus produced a big part of it. Then Gates came home, and I kind of just handed it back off to him. You know what I'm saying?
How was it? Oh, so did you and Kevin Gates ever get a chance to making the music in the studio together?
Yeah, we did. Well, I had did some shit with Gates like before, like when he first was coming out, and he had it was a song called "Find My Way." It was on one of them like first early Gates mixtapes. I can't remember which one. Maybe All or Nothing or something. All In or something. I can't remember. But so I
believe so. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had done. I had done shit with him before he got locked up. After he got locked up, we did Baddest in the Building. I got on with him, and it was another one called what's the name of that song, bro? I be saying Styrofoam white cup got a lot of ice. Not a nigga, not a bitch in this world I never bow down to. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, it's on that whichever mixtape when he first got out of jail. The next one he put out is on there.
We're gonna look that up later. How was that artistically working with him as a today he's grown as such an illustrious character.
Yeah. I mean it was cool, Gates, I feel like Gates kinda like was an artist that was like more in the vein of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause he always was lyrical and shit. So it was cool, bro. I always respected him, his pen and he just was talented. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't never scared to just like try shit and do shit out the box, and he wasn't gonna let you put him in no box. And that's kind of like how I felt like I was, coming up in the era before him. You know what I'm saying? So.
Right. On your album Pain Medicine, you talked about having chronic migraines and a collapse alone.
Yeah.
Could you talk about that?
Yeah, I had like when I was younger, I used to have like bad migraines. I used to throw up and shit. Like I don't know what the fuck what it was from, but that shit was just like it'll wake me up out my sleep. This was like when I was in high school and shit. But then in 2004, I believe, 2005, and I woke up one morning, bro, and it felt like somebody was stabbing me in the fucking chest right here, like bad, like a nigga was just jugging my shit. Pain, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, what the fuck? Like, I thought it was like bronchitis or something, cause I had some shit like that before, what made my chest hurt bad. You know, so I ain't really. I was just like, man, you know, eventually it'll be all right. So I went a whole day. Then another day, I was in Houston when it happened. I came back home, and my sister, she like a nurse. So I went to her and I told her like what was going on with me and shit. And it had fucked her up because like if you get close to me right here and you hear every time my heart beat, it sounds like water, like you shaking water in a cup, like every time my heart beat, right? And she was like, man, what the fuck? Like something wrong, like you need to go to the hospital. So I ended up going to the hospital, and you know, it took x-rays and shit. My lung had collapsed, this one right here, and they had to put like a tube in. Fucking, I was in the hospital for like 8 days or something, hooked to this thing. It was like, you know, just some bullshit.
How did that affect your music, recording wise?
Well, that's when I actually came up with the pain medicine whole concept. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
I just look at it like this, like my music is pain medicine. My music is that shit that niggas use to help them get through, you know, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Shit they going through.
You quoted one time that you feel like you the everyday man rapper.
Right, I am. Cause, you know, I wasn't never just like no super ultra street nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like I came up in the streets, and like I said, I was raised by the wolves, so I know how they go. But at the end of the day, like I'm just me. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I speak for niggas who, you know, they don't have no voice, but you know what I'm saying, they go through the same kind of shit that I go through. Like they live, you know, niggas who gotta wake up at 5 in the morning and go, you know, get it. But I gotta go to work, gotta go whatever. Like, you know, they go to school or whatever you trying to do. You know, outside of just like, man, you know, stepping on ops and, you know, slanging dope and, you know, just making songs about that. Like just making songs about real life. You know, like I say, like before, I feel like I was doing that shit before. Like now it's like, you know, niggas who do that shit, they call them great. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But, you know, I was doing that shit before it was cool. You know what I'm saying? Standing on side niggas who was ultra gangsters. You know what I'm saying?
You was able to hold your own.
Right.